Hey everybody, good day. My name is Steve Przebrowski and welcome to tip number 14 in the series 101 Tips to Ace Your Promotional Examination based on the Fire Engineering Books and Videos book of the same name that was recently published and is available on their website. So let's get started in helping you be the best that you can be on your next promotional examination process. All right, as a reminder, my website, code3firetraining.com, has a lot of great free information on there, promotional preparation, professional development, leadership, training stuff, lots of great stuff to keep you busy for hours and to share with others to help them be the best they can be. So, as I mentioned, my latest book available through Fire Engineering Books and Videos. There's a current discount code, 25% off. You see in the green box down there. If you use code 101 TIPS, upon checkout, you'll get 25% off. What a great deal. Can't beat it. Hey, available off fireengineeringbooks.com as well as my website, code3firetraining.com. So let's get into it. Tip number 14. If you've paid attention or had a chance to watch the previous 13 tips, hopefully you're finding some value to the information that I'm sharing, discussing. Tip number 14 is pretty straightforward. Perform a self-assessment. Yeah, that means you looking at yourself. And what that means, I'll get into here shortly, but performing a self-assessment really means digging inside of you to get to know the true you, where you're at, where you've been, where you want to go. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So in each of these tips throughout the book, I'm fortunate to have a lot of voices of experience, words of wisdom from lots of fire service leaders from around the country, as well as a lot of great artwork by Paul Combs. Paul Combs, who does the monthly fire engineering artwork, I guess you want to call it, within each issue, as well as has provided, I mean, literally hundreds of pieces of awesome artwork related to the fire service. You know, he graciously allowed me to use a number of his artwork gems in my book, and I'm forever grateful there. But this is the one that I have in the book. Change starts with you, because it's so easy to point fingers. We live in a society where it seems like everyone wants to point fingers away from them, away from themselves. Rarely do people point the finger at themselves and say, wait, I'm part of the problem, but also part of the solution. So I think that's what it comes down to, is recognizing your self-assessment that any change, good or not so good, starts with you. So to dig upon that a little bit more. So this adds upon some of the previous tips. In tip number 2, we talked about knowing your why. I think knowing your why is critical. Again, regardless of what rank you want to go to or end up at, firefighter, engineer, company officer, fire chief, you got to know your why, because I think that's how your leadership vision starts. And you may say, firefighter, engineer, there's no leadership required. Yes, there is. Leadership is required at all ranks on the food chain, not just the fire chief, but all the way down to the firefighter. So leadership is a necessity in today's world. So knowing your why, I think, is critical. And as a reminder, the previous tip number 3 was creating your own mission statement and personal value statement, again, which is based upon your why. And then also ties into tip number 12, which was know where you want to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road, even into retirement and beyond. Basically, where do you want to be in your deathbed, whenever that is, hopefully a long time away from now? Where do you want to be, and what do you want to look back on and say, you know what? I'm glad I did this, or I'm glad I did that, hopefully for the betterment of others, the betterment of your department, the betterment of society, and so forth. This also builds upon tip number 13, lucky 13, which was have a vision, and it sort of ties into also knowing your why and knowing where you want to be, but it builds upon that. Now, I took this picture because it sort of mimics Paul Combs's artwork a couple slides ago, but obviously definitely is nowhere near his level. I mean, I can't draw anything to save my life. I mean, a stick figure looks bad when I try to do it. But my point here is it starts by looking at yourself honestly, objectively in the mirror. And I think that's what it comes down to. A self-assessment starts with us. And for us to go into any promotional process, we've got to know ourselves inside and out. We've got to know where we are, where we've been, where we want to be. And we can't just, have thoughts and ideas of, yeah, I'd like to do that, or I'd like to be there. You've got to actually have an action plan put into place. And that's some of the things I'm talking about. So perform, start a self-assessment on yourself. I mean, I think it's critical to perform that self-assessment. So, In the next episode, tip number 13, we'll be digging deeper into creating and implementing your career development roadmap and action plan, which will really build upon this. So basically, until then, thank you all for the gift of your time. My social media contact information, feel free to reach out, cell phone, email address, or on my website. So until then, y'all be safe, y'all take care, and we'll see y'all soon. Take care.